Baki series has come a long way since its manga's release back in 1991, now almost 30 years ago. Also known as Baki the Grappler in the US, the series was written by Keisuke Itagaki, and has evolved and grown to great heights. From its anime adaptation in 2001, and to Netflix continuing the series with improved animation back in 2018. Which brings us here today, to their next 2020 recent release of Part 3 of Baki, and I gotta say, it was a roller coaster. With all the insane hand-to-hand combat, supernatural human abilities, and godlike muscles, Season 3 delivers a high-octane experience that fans of the series will certainly be delighted with. The creators of the series hold nothing less than a true respect and love for the rich 4,000-year heritage of martial arts, dating back to China, where much of the season takes place instead of Japan. And a lot of that same passion is depicted beautifully in Baki, through their detailed research on human biology and physiology, and also in their visceral animations and striking bold line work. Now, I understand that martial arts in general may not interest most people, but for me, one of my favorite things growing up was watching old kung fu movies with my dad. From Bruce Lee to Jackie Chan, it fascinated me to see the insane discipline and spirit these men showed in overcoming every obstacle that was thrown at them, and the lengths that some men go to in pursuit of strength through mind, body, and spirit. While this may come off to some as an anime brimming with male machismo, I'd like to take a second and point out that martial arts originated as a means for the weak to protect themselves. It teaches discipline, respect for others, and a positive disposition to strive for the best in life. And while yes, it does give you killer abs, and yes, it allows old men to do things like this, this show has some genuine depth, as we explore the vast psychology of these unique characters and their different ideologies towards living and fighting. I, for one, am impressed at the deep level of research that was done in this show to have made every exchange feel unique and heart-poundingly intense, while also learning about the carefully crafted techniques and styles passed down through the generations. Oh right, my name is Fabio, and if you've seen the series before, then join me as I give an in-depth review of this season as I analyze some of the greater developments and give my thoughts. And if you've never heard of Baki before, well then feel free to stick around. You may end up finding something you surprisingly enjoy. But please keep in mind, this will be a spoiler-heavy video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and if you're coming back again, thank you so much for your support. Oh man, just talking about Baki is getting me amped up. Hold on, let me try and do a push-up. Up! Oh no, yep, nope, definitely broke something. Just start the video, Before we can talk about Baki, we first have to talk about his father, Yujiro Hanma, also known as the Ogre or the strongest creature on Earth. From a young age, Yujiro fought in every battlefield and every war zone he could find, purely to satisfy both his bloodlust and his insatiable appetite for power. You see, Yujiro didn't strive simply to be the strongest man, rather he wanted to be the strongest force of nature in existence, surpassing any weapon, any government, and any nation. And to shock and awe, he did just that, even forcing the United States government to stand down against his inconceivable might. That's crazy! And as if things couldn't already start more over the top, his last name, Hanma, translates to demon, and also notes to the fact that due to a lifetime of unimaginably painful training and combat, his back muscles have developed into the very face of a weeping demon. Yeesh. Yujiro went on to, get busy all over the world in hopes of producing strong offspring that would eventually be worthy opponents for him. Yeah, I never said this guy was a great father. This eventually led to the birth of Baki, our main character, who at an extremely young age was already being put through some hellish training by his own father. At the age of 13, Baki finally challenges his father to a fight and was crushingly defeated, and then witnessed his own mother die at the very hands of his father. This tragic loss has taken Baki on a lifelong journey of revenge, fighting endless waves of enemies all in hopes of becoming stronger. We've witnessed Baki fighting everything from gangsters, beasts, soldiers, even becoming the champion of the Underground Maxim tournament. The previous Netflix season gave us the savage death row inmates, grappling with our main cast and Baki, all of which left our main protagonist's body in critical condition and poisoned by Yanagi. This dude gave me major creeps ever since he was introduced. I mean, he literally blew a dude's brains out. Gross. In any case, this season starts off with Retsukayo convincing Baki that he, despite being on death's door, must absolutely participate in the Great Raitai Tournament, a sacred Chinese martial arts tournament held once every 100 years, to celebrate both their love of martial arts and to choose the one worthy of the title, the Great Kaio, which I believe also means Sea Emperor or Supreme Grand Master. Participants in this tournament are the other 12 Kaio, who are revered as the Masters or Sea Kings or Great Protectors of China, and are loved among their people. If they have proven themselves, foreigners are allowed to participate, which brings us to Yujiro, Baki, and Muhammad Ali Jr. Yes, you heard me correctly, both Muhammad Ali and his son are canon pivotal characters in the series, but I'll go into that a little bit later. And even more astoundingly, joining the tournament is the former 146-year-old champion of the last Great Raitai Tournament, Sea Emperor Kaku, who is one of the more interesting characters introduced this season, as this fight with Yujiro was probably the climax of the season for me. Now, when I meant by this season was a roller coaster, I meant just that. The first episodes were really fast-paced, filled with sharp turns, heated battles, and an epic climax near the middle of the tournament. The trailing 5 episodes felt like a slow descent that, while still entertaining, didn't capture that same excitement, as the story shifted its focus to other characters and building for the next season. Both these had some pros and cons that I'm going to break down. Oftentimes, some anime get jumbled up in tournament arcs, as they struggle to balance new characters, reveals, exposition, and interesting combat. Strong writing is critical here, as you need to keep things moving and make each exchange feel unique and fun, without slowing down the pace due to screeching halt with characters and backgrounds and expositions. Baki does this well, as everything was balanced, and every episode felt like it gave me a satisfying answer, and also something reasonably exciting to expect for the next episode. Now, there were a lot of fights that were extremely one-sided in this season, and over really quickly, which was a bummer. We didn't get to see a few characters and a few styles shine a bit more. However, on the plus side, this did create some insanely powerful and impacting moments that shocked me. Like when Oliva straight up turned that dude into a pancake with one hand, or when Baki took out Shunsui in like 2 seconds, just to show how strong he's gotten. The most notable part of the first half of the season was Baki's very first match. Poisoned, coughing up blood, and barely standing, he is pitted against Kaio Lee, the best poison hand user in all of China. I mean, come on, that is just beating someone when they are down. But alas, an unforeseen miracle occurs. You see, the poison hand techniques themselves were derived from the set of 12 ancient Chinese scrolls. Yanagi, from before, had poisoned Baki with the yin-sided hand from the first 7, while Li then used the yang side from the later 5 scrolls. The combination of these 2 poisons in his body somehow cured him. Which may sound like banana sandwiches, this is actually based on some evidence in both modern and Chinese medicine. I think it's these really well-researched, over-the-top martial arts moments that really win me over with this show. The climax for the first half between Yujiro and Kakukayo was incredible. The strongest creature for the strongest martial artists, a 146-year-old man no doubt, was one of the most interesting clashes of this season, as we got some deeper insight to the mindsets and ideologies of these characters. Even the arrogant Yujiro showed a rare bit of respect as he introduced the Great Kaio to the ring. A man that has sacrificed nearly everything and endured over 100 years of grueling training, all for the love of martial arts and strength. The end left us with an unprecedented conclusion, with Kaku somehow tricking his own body into dying for only several minutes, giving Yujiro the technical win. By Kakukayo's perspective, he was the victor, as he was the one who controlled the outcome and overall survived, the true point of martial arts. By the tournament's perspective, Yujiro had won. However, by Yujiro's own perspective, nothing was decided as no one had died from their match. I thought this was an interesting take on an otherwise brutally savage tournament, and it was pretty funny that the Kaio even promised to fight him again in another 100 years. Lastly, it was interesting to see Baki's growth overall in this season. Going from being poisoned and half dead, we see him evolve to insane new levels, become an almost completely different person by the end. That's so much that even Yujiro finally deems him worthy of challenging him again. I also like how Yujiro, while clearly evil, isn't exactly bent on world domination or any insidious plot either. He's just a really strong narcissist, and is used in the writing to serve as a constant obstacle and goal for Baki. That despite all the insane training and victories he achieves, Yujiro can come in to completely devastate him in one blow just to remind him of the insane power gap that still exists between them. The second half follows Muhammad Ali Jr. after the tournament. He goes about Japan, challenging both Orochidopo and Shibukawa, both considered grandmasters in their own right, and managed to catch them both off guard with swift defeats. However, this proves to bite him in the butt a little bit, as both return the favor and beat him into a pulp despite already being injured. His father, the great Muhammad Ali, even comes to visit him to deliver a swift butt-kicking himself to his injured son in an attempt to raise his spirits and to teach him the difference between boxing and Japanese martial arts. Boxing is still considered a sport with rules, while martial arts in Japan is considered a lifestyle, and practitioners of the arts should be expected to put their lives on the line in battle at all times, at any time. This all culminates in having this big showdown in the underground arena between Junior and Baki, and I thought this was a really weird that almost everybody had their money on Junior. Like both Shibukawa and Orochi, who beat the lights out of Junior and have seen Baki fight way stronger dudes even more recently, still bet their money on Junior. At the showdown, Baki takes out Junior in seconds, leaving us with a really anticlimactic finish. I wish they had expanded a bit more on the new monstrous heights Baki had now achieved, but we barely saw him in all those last 5 episodes. Furthermore, we even see a stark mental change in his behavior towards Kozue, his girlfriend, and a personality that seems a lot more like his father Yujiro, which is a major development for him. Personally, I would have been more interested to see more of these two elements than building up Junior in the second half, only to be quickly defeated in the end as a stepping stone for Baki. However, I liked how the second half did use Junior and Muhammad Ali as a father-son parallel we see between Baki and his own father Yujiro. Both Yujiro and Muhammad, in their own way, sort of push their sons to get stronger in the two worlds of fighting that they come from. In the end, the final episode builds up the next season as we see all 5 of the death row inmates, and despite being blinded, deaf, maimed, or even mentally incapacitated, they all have been undergoing some monstrous training and have become borderline demons who, like the previous time, have all been subconsciously preparing for the next synchronicity, the unexplained phenomenon that caused them all to break out of prison the first time and drew them to fight in Japan. This most likely all being caused by the proclaimed final showdown between Baki and Yujiro. Personally, I'm not a fan of this rehash and the use of the death row inmates again, yet this show does do well to make me curious to see what insane things they are capable of doing next. I mean, Doyle, despite being blind and deaf, can grab bats out of thin air. Skurkowski sleeps while hanging from the side of a wall and can roll up nickels like paper, and Dorian, man, I don't even know what to say about this. To summarize, if you like Baki, you are going to love this season. While marred down with some minor pacing issues near the end and an even weaker shift in narrative, the season was still an explosive ride. I just wish they had focused a bit more on Baki towards the end and explored some of the psychological changes they had gone through after the Raitai tournament. I'll be frank, this is certainly a more niche anime, and if you aren't much into martial arts stuff, this will probably not be your cup of tea. This series isn't exactly high on my list for most compelling story, but that said, it was for sure left an impression on me. This show was made with some genuine passion, and that shines through its attention to detail and strikingly sharp animations. What did you think of this season? Or did this video make you curious enough to check it out for yourself? Feel free to let me know down in the comments about what you thought. And if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Well, that's all for me today. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.